All right, today we're going to break down a real estate guide, specifically one that focuses on Powell, Tennessee, to really understand what goes into labeling a neighborhood as family-friendly for 2025.
I mean, if you've ever even thought about moving, you know this feeling. You're just drowning in articles, top 10 lists, blogs, all screaming about where you should live. It is a lot. And you start to wonder, what's just marketing fluff and what's actually useful?
So, that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take one of these guides and really pull it apart together. We're looking at a 2025 guide from a local group to see exactly how it's building its case for Powell as a great spot for families. And just to be clear, the goal here isn't to sell a house. It's to understand the story that this guide is trying to tell.
Okay, so first up, the guide makes its big picture case for Powell. Before they get into specific streets or subdivisions, they have to answer the most basic question. Why here?
So the whole argument really boils down to that classic best of both worlds pitch. It's not just about having a quieter, more suburban life, it's about getting all that without giving up easy access to the city. And you'll notice they immediately highlight schools and affordability. Right away, those are the two big pillars for their whole family-friendly claim.
And this right here, this really gets to the heart of it. This is the core of their pitch. See, it's not just a suburb, it's a suburb with scenic views. It's not just convenient, it has family-focused amenities. This is the main argument, and everything else in the guide is built to support this single idea.
All right, let's get into the specifics. The guide starts to categorize in the neighborhoods, and it begins with what it calls the classic or more established communities.
Now check out the language the guide uses for these classic neighborhoods. Words like mature trees, walkable layout, stable. These aren't just random adjectives. They are carefully chosen to paint a picture of a traditional, settled suburban life. The big takeaway here is that these neighborhoods are being sold on their timeless, established appeal.
So, after setting that scene, the guide flips the coin. It shifts focus to the other side of Powell, the newer, more modern developments. So how are these different from the classic ones?
And you can see immediately the keywords totally change. Now we're hearing about open floor plans and modern kitchens. For a place like Brickey Estates, the big draw is the scenic vibe and bigger lots. And for Westbrook, it's all about new construction and popular features like fenced backyards, which, it's a massive deal for families with kids or dogs. So the guide is actually doing something pretty smart here. It's creating two very distinct options for a buyer. Do you want classic charm or modern amenities?
But look, a neighborhood is so much more than just the houses in it, right? So the guide dedicates a big chunk of its space to what it calls the Powell family lifestyle. Basically, everything you do once you step outside your front door.
This is where that family-friendly promise starts to feel real. It stops being an abstract idea. The guide points to very specific places like Powell Station Park or the Beaver Creek Greenway to show you what you could be doing on a Saturday morning. It's trying to prove that this is a community that's actually built for active families.
And for a lot of families, let's be honest, this is the most important slide in the whole presentation. The guide is super direct about this. It says flat out that schools are a huge reason people move to Powell. And by laying out this clear path, elementary, middle, and high school, all in the same community, it's suggesting a sense of stability and a strong local identity.
Okay, so after all that, the different neighborhood vibes, the parks, the schools, what does it all mean for your wallet? Let's see what the guide says about the real estate market in 2025.
The assessment here feels pretty optimistic, but also grounded. When they say steady demand, that's code for a stable investment. But they also make sure to highlight relative affordability and variety. They're positioning Powell as a place that's actually accessible, whether you're a first-time buyer or a growing family that needs more room.
And honestly, if you were to boil this entire guide down to just one single sentence, this would be it. This quote is the whole narrative in a nutshell. Powell isn't just rural and it isn't just suburban. According to this guide, it's that perfect balance between the two that's the real secret to its popularity. After digging through a guide like this, it's clear that the idea of a community is so much more than a bunch of houses on a map. The guide suggests it's things like walkable streets, community events, and good schools that are the key ingredients. It kind of leaves you with this big question to think about. What is that magic spark that turns a subdivision into a real neighborhood?